5 times in one night while they all watched the Vatican's darkest wedding became a mirror for everyone who ever played with power. Diaries were locked away, portraits painted over, but the truth still slips through the cracks. Why does this single night remain the blueprint for scandal centuries later? This journey isn't just about the past, it's about what we risk now. What did Rome see? And what did it refuse to forget? Some nights bend time, forcing history to hold its breath. Rome in the spring of 1493 teems with festivals, markets, and processions, yet beneath the surface, every shadow carries secrets. That night, the Vatican itself glows brighter than the moon. As hundreds gather for a wedding no one will ever truly leave behind. The palaces around St. Peter's Square fill with the richest food, the sharpest laughter, and the most dangerous ambition. Guests range from velvet-robed cardinals to spies sent from Venice, Florence, and Milan. At the heart stands Lucrezia Borgia, barely 17, luminous and fragile, daughter to Pope Alexander VI. Her marriage to Giovanni Sforza promises peace, power, and legitimacy, but the world outside wants proof. Tonight, the church doesn't just bless a union, it turns it into a trial. The ritual is set. 5 acts, 5 witnesses, 5 stakes. As servants prepare the bridal chamber, Rome's future shifts on silken sheets. Why did this moment demand so much? What price will be paid by sunrise? And who, if anyone, can escape the cost? Why did the Vatican make weddings a matter of state? Power in Renaissance Italy never rests. In Rome, every marriage ties not just people, but entire dynasties together. In 1493, the Borgia name stirs both hope and terror. Rodrigo Borgia, now Pope Alexander VI, rules by fear and cunning. His daughter, Lucrezia, raised in privilege but never in safety, becomes the coin of the realm. Weddings for the powerful follow ancient scripts. Witnesses gather just outside the nuptial chamber, the right linens are laid, the right wine poured, and sometimes a priest is present, not to bless, but to ensure that every act serves the church's interests. Political marriages are bargains, not fairy tales. The public aspect is no accident. A dynasty's survival depends on producing heirs, and every rival wants proof, not promises. The Borgia-Sforza union holds Italy's balance in its hands. The Sforza family, lords of Pesaro, need papal support. The Borgias need a foothold in the north. The Pope insists Rome must see strength. But as the bride walks toward her fate, everyone watches for signs of weakness. Diaries of the time describe tensions so thick, even the candles seem to shiver. Rituals become spectacle. Sheets are displayed, tokens exchanged, and sometimes even acts are counted. 5 times more than custom, almost a dare. The night's outcome could unite kingdoms or unleash war. In those corridors, faith is a tool, and privacy is a luxury nobody can afford. What did the witnesses see, and what did they pretend to see? The next hours decide the future of a continent. What drove Rome to turn intimacy into theatre? Rome thrives on contradiction. Its chapels sing of chastity, but its palaces trade in desire. The public wedding night is both threat and promise. In noble courts, the ritual of consummation is a test. It means more than love or pleasure, it means survival. Every eye at the Borgia wedding looks for proof, for weakness, for an excuse to strike. Documents from the time describe the choreography. After the vows, the couple retires to their chamber, watched over by a chosen few. The rest wait just outside, ears straining for a signal, eyes scanning for the telltale cloth. The pressure on bride and groom is relentless. Failure could mean annulment, scandal, even war. But why 5 times? Renaissance superstition links odd numbers with luck and fertility. Doctors say 5 acts guarantee heirs. Priests claim it wards off the devil's influence. For the Borgia wedding, the number becomes a rumor, a challenge, a weapon in courtly games. Some sources hint the Pope himself demanded it as silent warning to enemies. Don't doubt this family's power. For Lucrezia, the ordeal is more than personal. Her beauty has already inspired paintings and poems, but tonight, she's both actor and audience in her own trial. Giovanni Sforza, desperate for favor, must perform or face disgrace. As the hours drag on, word spreads through Rome's taverns and alleys tonight. anything can happen. How much did the guests know? What did the Sforza men record? What did the Borgia allies threaten? Who kept score? And who lied about it the next day? In the next chapter, see how witnesses made history, sometimes with a glance, sometimes with a knife. Who watched and what did they really see? In the candlelit corridors, the lines between witness and participant blur. Letters from Venetian ambassadors suggest up to a dozen trusted men watched the door, charged with reporting every detail to their masters. Servants flit through the shadows, carrying towels and sheets, each bearing the evidence that will decide tomorrow's headlines. Cardinals debate theology in one corner, rival nobles trade wagers in another. According to a diary kept by an anonymous Sforza cousin, at least one act is counted aloud. For the record, he writes, so that none may doubt the outcome. Every sound is interpreted, every silence doubted. The proof takes many forms: a stained sheet, a cryptic phrase, sometimes a coin tossed onto the bed by a priest. Renaissance legal records show disputes lasting for years over a single night's evidence. 5 times means safety, less invites enemies. For some, the ritual is agony, for others, it's an opportunity. Jealous rivals slip bribes to servants, hoping for a whisper of failure. In Rome, truth is malleable. The next day's reports never agree. Some claim Lucrezia triumphed, others say Sforza faltered. Still others insist the whole thing was staged. But one fact is clear by sunrise: every major power in Italy knows what happened, or thinks it does. In this city, perception is everything. What happens when the perception is more dangerous than the act itself? Follow this thread to the cost of failure. What happened to those who failed the test? Failure, in this world, brings more than shame. Diaries from 15th century Rome tell of brides returned to their fathers, grooms sent into exile, entire fortunes lost on rumors of impotence. Giovanni Sforza's fate after his wedding to Lucrezia Borgia becomes a case study in public ruin. Papal scribes record that within months, Sforza is summoned before a tribunal. The marriage is declared void for non-consummation. His enemies call him impotent, a charge impossible to erase. Lucrezia, though technically cleared of blame, suffers her own public scrutiny. The annulment letter spreads quickly, and soon her reputation is caught between myth and reality. Other noble women, less connected than Lucrezia, fare worse. Chronicles from the time describe young brides locked away, grooms forced into monasteries, or duels fought at dawn to restore honor. Failure turns private pain into public spectacle. The Church's power to grant or deny legitimacy becomes a weapon, one that leaves scars for generations. Even family allies are not immune. Rumors swirl that one Borgia cousin disappeared after failing to produce an heir. Some say poison was the final punishment. But every disgrace brings a lesson, and some, like Lucrezia, learn to survive by mastering the very system that tried to break them. She will become both feared and admired, her story twisting through every Italian palace. Yet who profits from such pain? The next chapter follows the money, the land, and the shifting alliances that this single night unleashes. How did one night change the fate of a continent? The political aftermath of the Borgia wedding ripples outward for years. The Sforza, weakened by scandal, scramble to secure new alliances. Some records show their fortune drops by nearly half within a decade. The Medici in Florence capitalize, sending spies and gifts to Rome, always searching for cracks in the Borgia shield. Venice warns its ambassadors, do not trust papal promises, only papal proofs. The Vatican, meanwhile, tightens its grip. Alexander VI uses his daughter's ordeal to redraw boundaries, handing out bishoprics to allies, threatening enemies with excommunication. Within months, 3 new marriages are brokered as a direct result of the night's outcome. The 5 times becomes a code word among diplomats, shorthand for both risk and opportunity. Lucrezia Borgia herself, far from defeated, learns the art of maneuver. Over the next decade, she marries twice more, each time for greater power, each time learning to play the role assigned by her father, then by her own ambition. Letters from her second and third husbands reveal a woman as calculating as any general, but never safe from the legacy of that first night. Italy's balance of power grows ever more fragile. Rival cities use the Vatican wedding as both threat and cautionary tale. No marriage is ever simple again. And in the background, the church's hold on private life becomes tighter, the costs steeper for those who can't perform. But why did this single ritual become myth? What did later generations see in it that their ancestors missed? The answer lies in the stories and legends that grew up in the centuries that followed our next chapter. How did this night become legend, and why won't it die? Time transforms scandal into story. By the late 1500s, the tale of the Borgia wedding is retold in plays, poems, and political pamphlets. Some writers claim the Pope demanded 7 acts, not 5. Others insist Lucrezia's hair was cut and displayed as proof of her virtue. Each version grows wilder, but all agree on the public nature of the ordeal. Travelers in the 17th century pay guides to point out the Borgia window in Rome where, legend says, the Pope himself waited for news. In the 1800s, novels and operas used the wedding as the ultimate symbol of corruption and desire. By the time Hollywood arrives, Lucrezia is cast as both victim and villain, her wedding night replayed with every new era's fears and fantasies. Historians in the 20th century uncover hidden letters and trial records that confirm the basics: the public ritual, the obsession with performance, the fallout of failure. Yet the truth is always more complicated. What mattered most? What was seen? Or what was believed? The Borgia story survives because it touches a nerve that never heals. Who hasn't feared being judged? Who hasn't wished for privacy in the moment of greatest vulnerability? The Vatican's darkest wedding becomes a mirror, showing every age what it fears most about power, ritual, and public life. But what did the Church itself try to erase? The final chapter turns to the hidden records, the evidence almost lost to fire and time. What did the Church hide and what still remains? For centuries, the Vatican worked to erase its most embarrassing stories. Many wedding night rituals were struck from official registers, letters burned, testimonies rewritten, but scraps remain. In 1923, archivists found a cache of private diaries from the Borgia era, coded notes from a cardinal, poems from a maid, and the last will of a disgraced nobleman. These documents reveal that the 5 times ritual was more common than rumor suggested, with versions stretching across Spain, France, and even distant Poland. Yet no other family inspired as much fear or fascination as the Borgias. The archive hints at bribes paid to keep secrets, guards rotated every hour to prevent leaks, and cryptic messages between Lucrezia and her later husbands. Modern historians debate how much was ritual, how much theatre, but one fact is clear: those who controlled the narrative controlled history. The Vatican's efforts to erase the story only made it stronger, turning the night into a myth even the Church can't fully bury. In the digital age, the story finds new life, discussed in forums, dramatized in series, analyzed in academic texts. Each generation asks the same questions. What really happened? And why does it matter? Our final moments belong to you, the listener, because every retelling reshapes the story. Why does this night still hold us? Power, once put on stage, never truly disappears. The legend of 5 times in one night while they all watched remains a lesson, a warning, a fascination. Lucrezia Borgia's name is carved in marble, painted in shadow, and whispered in every tale of ambition and survival. But the heart of the story is human. What does it cost to be watched, measured, judged in your most private hour? What do we lose? What do we gain when love, faith, and power are weighed in the balance for all to see? Tonight, we walked through the Vatican's darkest wedding, watched ambition remake the world, and found the echoes of that night still living in the questions we ask about privacy, spectacle, and survival. Some stories never end, they just wait in the shadows. Click the next video right now, because the secrets of that Vatican night still shape the world, and what happened next will change what you believe.